Coming up on WMBD News at noon, this flu season is proving to be more active and more deadly than others. How you can protect your family from getting sick.
Lawmakers are running out of time to keep the government open. I'm Weijia Zhang on Capitol Hill with who gets what in the latest legislation.
And a plea from Peoria police to put the guns down. What's being done after the city sees its second homicide of 2018, just 15 days into the new year. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Alyssa Paldo. Our top story this afternoon, the Peoria County coroner says the person shot and killed in the city's second homicide of the year was a teenager. And this is a look at the man who turned himself into police Monday night. 29-year-old Melvin Wallace is booked in the Peoria County Jail for murder, allegedly shooting and killing a teenager at a Peoria apartment complex Monday night. Now, the victim of that shooting is identified as 19-year-old Jamon Lewis. He was shot in the head and pronounced dead around 8:30 Monday night inside a Lexington Hills apartment on West Oak Crest Drive. The coroner says there are no other signs of trauma or defensive wounds. Peoria police stress the need for the city to come together and stop these acts of violence.
Shooting is never the answer. And I think importantly to remember is, whenever there's an act of violence, specifically a homicide, that's a family that suffers the loss of a loved one. And, it's just not the answer for our community.
Authorities say Lewis did not live at the apartment and that the shooting is still under investigation, despite Wallace turning himself in. Meanwhile, the Peoria City Council is looking to fill a new position aimed at developing strategies that address racial disparity. Following the retirement of David Watkins, Peoria's Equal Opportunity Officer, City Council voted unanimously to approve a Diversity and Inclusion Officer. The department head will report directly to the city manager, Patrick Urich. Urich says he believes the role will be a voice for minority populations throughout the city.
The intent behind this position is to have a focus on the issues of racial equity and helping us to address these issues throughout the city and throughout the region, quite frankly, because the issues of racial equity transcend the city of Peoria, and so that's something that we have to look at.
For more information on the position, visit our website, ciproud.com. Well, in the Twin Cities, Nestle is selling its U.S. candy business, including its manufacturing plant in Bloomington. The Italian company Ferrero is acquiring 3 plants in Illinois and several popular candy brands for nearly $3 billion. Nestle is one of the largest employers in Bloomington Normal, employing around 400 people. Ferrero intends to keep the plant open and will give employees the option to stay. Normal Mayor Chris Coos says it's encouraging to see manufacturing jobs continue to thrive in the Twin Cities.
With Rivian coming in, Brandt coming in, this company buying the Nestle bike factory and saying we're going to keep continuing to make product out of that facility, I think says a lot about the community and people's willingness to work here and stay here.
The sale will not affect the Nestle factory in Morton. People who get money from Peoria Township every month are about to see some changes. Right now, nearly 200 people a month get money through the Township Assistance Program. Effective February 1st, recipients will get vouchers rather than cash to help them pay bills, buy groceries, and get gas. In addition to the new method, they'll also see an increase in assistance from $255 a month to $300. The township supervisor says the change to a voucher system is an attempt to hold recipients accountable, and so money will be spent in businesses in Peoria Township. Congress has until midnight Friday to pass a new spending bill, or else there will be a government shutdown. Now, House Republican leaders say a long-term deal isn't possible, so they're focusing on a one-month fix. But as Weijia Zhang reports from Capitol Hill, even that proposal is facing resistance from conservative Republicans and Democrats.
Republican leaders are trying to find a bill that will win over enough support to keep the government open. The latest proposal would be a short-term deal that would fund the government until February 16th. As a sweetener for Democrats, it would reauthorize the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, for another 6 years. For conservatives, it would delay 3 Affordable Care Act taxes.
Good faith negotiations are underway, and to push that aside and try and jeopardize funding for things like S-CHIP in our military to me makes no sense.
The conservative House Freedom Caucus says its members oppose the plan because it doesn't expand military spending. That leaves the bill short of the 218 Republican votes necessary to pass it.
It's time that we get a strategy on how we allow our military men and women to be funded.
At least some Democrats say they will not vote for any bill that does not also include a solution for DACA, the Obama-era program that protects undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children from being deported.
For the dreamers who are losing their protected status every day, there needs to be a resolution now, not kicking the can down the road yet again. That's why I will oppose it.
Protesters in orange hats filled a Senate office building demanding a fix for DACA Wednesday. Police eventually escorted the demonstrators out. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The White House has said that in exchange for signing off on a fix for DACA, it wants Congress to spend at least $18 billion on a new wall along the Mexican border. Well, meanwhile, fallout continues over remarks made by President Trump last week. The words were used to describe African nations during a meeting with lawmakers on immigration. Senator Dick Durbin says the president referred to those nations as S-hole countries. GOP lawmakers who attended the meeting have shared differing accounts. Durbin stands by what he says he heard.
I will tell you that the comments that he made when I was in the White House, I thought were vile, they were hate-filled, and they were racial in tone. There's no question about it. You can't talk about S-hole countries in Africa and why don't we get more Norwegians and Europeans in the United States without the inescapable conclusion that the president is raising race as an issue for immigration.
Durbin also said Senators Tom Cotton and David Perdue should remember a word as gross as that in the course of a conversation with the president. Senators Cotton and Perdue were among the Republican lawmakers in that meeting. Well, a popular pizza place is moving to a different location. Double A's will be moving from Willow Knolls to Route 91 near the shops at Grand Prairie. The new location has formerly housed restaurants First and Home and Tilted Kilt. A post on the restaurant's Facebook page says the owners are planning some upgrades in the next few months.